Welcome to Top Fact Amazing. Life is a roller coaster of highs and lows, but every now and then, something so incredible happens that you just have to stop and think, wow, I might be the luckiest person alive. The stories that follow are about those moments, times when luck intervened in the most amazing ways. Let's start with a remarkable tale from the First World War. A soldier found himself in a deadly situation when he was shot in the chest by a German soldier. It sounds like a tragic end, but luck had other plans. As it turns out, the soldier had a collection of coins tucked into his breast pocket. Against all odds, these coins absorbed the impact of the bullet, stopping it just in time to save his life. Life is priceless, but in this case, it came down to some loose change. Next up, we have a story that shows real-life luck straight out of a movie. Picture this: a motorcyclist crashes into the car in front of him. The impact sends him flying into the air, but instead of a tragic fall, he performs a full flip and lands safely on the roof of the car. Just like a real-life Spider-Man, he walked away from what could have been a disaster without a scratch. Now, if there's one thing people universally hate, it's getting stuck in traffic. An hour-long drive can easily turn into 3 hours of frustration and wasted time. But not for this guy. On what must have been the best day ever, he hit the road only to find every single traffic light turning green just as he approached. He sailed through without a single stop, probably setting a new record for punctuality that day. No red lights, no delays, just a perfect, seamless drive. If you were this guy, you'd want to remember this moment forever. No other guys showed up to his hot tub party, but that wasn't his loss. In fact, he hit the teenage jackpot. He got to hang out, or should we say warm up, with a whole group of ladies. Who knows? Maybe he's on his way to following in the footsteps of Hugh Hefner. Sometimes, luck and timing just work out in the most unexpected ways. Then there's the guy who has technology to thank for saving his sight. He was using an angle grinder when, suddenly, the disc exploded. If he hadn't been wearing safety glasses, it could have easily taken out his eye. That's a terrifying thought. He could have lost his sight in an instant. Let this be a reminder: safety first, always. Now, we all think we're masters of multitasking, but is it really a good idea to browse Facebook while taking a bathroom break? Probably not. One guy learned this the hard way when his phone slipped from his hands. Luckily, it fell in the best possible way, saving him from a gross disaster. Hopefully, he learned his lesson about what not to do with his phone in the bathroom. If you're looking to quench your thirst this summer, nothing beats a slice of watermelon. And this one right here is the holy grail of watermelons. Take a closer look, it's practically seedless and has hardly any rind. That means more of the sweet, juicy goodness without the hassle. It's like hitting the fruit lottery. As for those with a sweet tooth, there's always a secret strategy to getting the best deal: show up 5 minutes before closing time at the donut shop. You might just walk away with the last batch of fresh donuts, a tempting offer that's hard to pass up. Sometimes, timing really is everything. This guy went into the store just wanting a couple of donuts, but he walked out with a monster-sized one instead. The store had so much leftover dough that they made a massive donut just for him. Is this what you'd call a family-sized donut? If you're a chocolate lover, especially a fan of Kit Kat, here's a treat for you. Did you know there are rare Kit Kats out there without the wafer? Yes, you heard that right, just pure chocolate goodness. For anyone with a sweet tooth, this is nothing short of paradise. We're all familiar with those 2-for-1 deals, but what if you could get 3 drinks for the price of 1? It's not exactly a sale, but that's what happened when this guy used a vending machine. Somehow, the laws of physics decided to give him an extra bonus, and he ended up with 3 drinks instead of 1. Talk about a lucky day. Now, let's talk about fish sticks. They're pretty delicious, and when it comes to food, more is definitely better. One lucky person found 20 fish sticks in a box that was supposed to have only 18. Is it false advertising? Technically, yes. But would you be upset about it? Probably not, unless you really don't like fish sticks. Imagine this: you have a massive delivery to make in just an hour, and right in front of you is a tunnel that looks way too small for your truck. What do? Well, if you're this guy, you just go for it and think, YOLO. He took the chance, and luckily, his truck squeezed through the tunnel with barely an inch to spare. Now, let's talk about Apple, the company known for its pricey iPhones and iMacs. But what if there was a way to snag an iMac without breaking the bank? It takes a bit of patience and a whole lot of luck, but it's possible. One lucky person found a fully working iMac for just $20 at a thrift store. Yes, you read that right, $20, winter? While it's the perfect time for a hot cup of chocolate, clearing snow off the roof is another story. It's exhausting. But this guy stumbled upon the perfect solution, purely by accident. Somehow, he managed to clear all the snow off his roof without getting hurt. It was a win-win, a clean roof and no backache. Then there's this snowboarder who, along with his buddy, just wanted to show off some moves. What happened next could only be called a new trick. Let's name it Trip and Fall with a 360-degree turn. Surprisingly, it looked pretty cool, and honestly, I'd give him a 10 out of 10 for the shock value alone. If you work in an office, one of the most satisfying tasks has to be shredding old documents. But what if you suddenly realize you need a crucial piece of information from one of those shredded receipts? It would usually take hours to piece it all back together, if not be impossible. But luck was on this guy's side. The shredder somehow missed the exact part he needed, and he found it immediately. Crisis averted. Ever heard of the Crater of Diamonds State Park? It's a gem hunter's dream in Arkansas. The best part about visiting is that you get to keep any stones you find. For a woman named Clark, a casual stroll in the park turned into the find of a lifetime when she discovered a 3.69 carat white diamond. Best walk in the park ever? Absolutely. Now, let's talk about ice cream. It's delicious, sure, but it can get messy when it starts melting and dripping everywhere. Not for this guy, though. The ice cream shop he visited came up with a genius solution: mini marshmallows at the bottom of the cone. Not only do they stop the ice cream from leaking out, but you also get a tasty marshmallow surprise at the end. Cleaning an old piano at a community college might sound like a dull task, but this was no ordinary piano. Martin Blackhouse, a 61-year-old piano technician, stumbled upon nearly 1,000 coins hidden inside, some dating all the way back to 1847. Inside one of the pianos he was restoring, Martin found nearly 1,000 coins made of gold and silver. While museums could legally acquire them, Martin got his fair share too. Winning the lottery once is lucky enough, but imagine winning it 20 times in a single day. That's exactly what happened to one woman who scratched off all 20 items on her ticket, totaling $4,000. She didn't hit millions, but the odds were definitely on her side that day. Football and beer go hand in hand, right? One guy just wanted to enjoy his drink, but he got way more than he bargained for. He found the golden beer. What does that mean? Thanks to a Bud Light promotion, it meant free Super Bowl tickets for life. Talk about the ultimate sports fan's dream come true. Then there's the middle-aged couple who were just walking their dog on their rural property in Northern California. Out of nowhere, they stumbled upon 8 cans filled with rare gold coins buried around an old tree. The total value of this treasure? A staggering $11 million. Here's hoping our dogs can lead us to a fortune like that someday. Maybe that iMac wasn't for you, so how about a classic Leica camera? This beautiful piece of tech was on sale for just $5. Considering that Leica cameras can easily cost over $1,000 each, this was a massive find. Heading to the park to read a book is always a great way to relax. For this guy, it turned into a magical moment. He was flipping through a huge book on the diversity of birds when, out of nowhere, the exact bird described on the page landed right on it. It seems like the bird wanted to do some bird watching of its own. Now, let's talk about basketball. This guy shot the ball way too high, but somehow it bounced off all the right places and landed perfectly in the hoop. Now that's what you call a lucky shot. Switching to baseball, a man was helping his aunt clean out her attic when he stumbled upon a treasure trove, some very old and incredibly rare collectible baseball cards from the 1950s. When all was said and done, the cards were valued at a cool $1 million. Oysters are cheap and delicious, But what if you found something even more valuable inside? Philip and Terry were having oysters when Terry discovered a pearl in one of them. With some help, she turned that pearl into a new ring worth £500. Steve Flagg had spent years searching for his biological mother. In a twist of fate, he miraculously found her working as a cashier at the very same store where he worked. Somehow, these two people had treated each other as mere co-workers for several months. It wasn't until Steve requested background information from the agency that handled his adoption that they discovered they shared the same blood. But here's an even crazier family reunion. Walter McFarlane and Alan Robinson had been best friends for more than 6 decades. When McFarlane decided to take a DNA ancestry test to find his birth father, he was in for the surprise of a lifetime. The results revealed that his best friend was actually his long-lost brother. Next is a story of survival and triumph. A 25-year-old soldier wanted to escape from North Korea, and against all odds, he managed to do so. However, he was in poor health and had to undergo surgery in South Korea due to a parasitic infection. One of his simple dreams was to taste choco pie again, a treat he loved. Hearing his story, the company Orion Confectionery stepped in and sent him 100 boxes of his favorite snack for free. Here's another tale of courage and luck. A man from Puerto Rico needed a life-saving transplant in Dallas, Texas. But there was one huge problem: Hurricane Maria was wreaking havoc, and the airport was in total chaos. Top of form, bottom of form. Then, one of the airline employees stepped in and helped him secure a ticket. If it had happened even a moment later, he wouldn't have made it to Dallas in time for the transplant that saved his life. There's nothing worse than dropping your keys down a storm drain. But luck was on this guy's side. The keys somehow got wedged right between the railings. Looking down, he must have breathed the biggest sigh of relief. In Sweden, a couple had lost all hope of finding their wedding ring, which had gone missing way back in 1995. 16 years later, Lena Paulson got the surprise of her life when she found the ring wrapped around a small carrot she harvested from their family garden. The carrot had grown right through it, bringing the lost ring back to them in the most unexpected way. Virginia Fike from Virginia decided to buy a couple of lottery tickets one day, using her parents' anniversary and their ages when they got married as her numbers. It turned out to be the best decision ever. Both tickets won, earning her $1 million each. Each year, Reddit hosts a Secret Santa event where strangers buy gifts for one another. For a woman named Alicia, it turned into the surprise of a lifetime when she found out her Secret Santa was none other than Microsoft founder and billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates. She received a letter, a donation made in her name, and a whopping 12 gifts, including Zelda mittens and special edition Xbox One controllers. Then there's Frane Selleck, a man who lived a life filled with danger, surviving 7 near-death experiences like bus crashes and train wrecks. Despite his risky past, he had always managed to come out unscathed. After 40 years of not buying a lottery ticket, he decided to try his luck once more. The heavens must have been watching because he won $1 million at the age of 76. Nichiren was a Japanese Buddhist monk who lived in the 12th century. He led a prominent life, but his beliefs led the authorities to order his execution. As Nichiren was about to be beheaded, something incredible happened. Lightning struck the sword, killing the executioner on the spot. The execution was halted, and Nichiren went on to live for several more years. Finally, this is perhaps the most astonishing and luckiest event ever recorded. In 1980, a 62-year-old man named Edwin E. Robinson was struck by lightning. At the time, he was both deaf and blind. Amazingly, he survived because he was wearing rubber-soled shoes. But here's the most extraordinary part: the lightning strike restored his sight and hearing. Nature truly is amazing. So, if you're having a rough day, just remember that better days are on the horizon. Don't lose hope. Luck has a way of finding you when you least expect it. If you enjoyed this story, you'll definitely want to check out my latest video over at Question King, where I explore the surprisingly interesting question of how heavy the internet is. Just click on the screen now to watch. I know, it seems like a pointless question, but trust me, the answer will surprise you. Plus, it's a great conversation starter next time you're the only guy in a hot tub.